lot of people talking about the tribulation at the moment. I want to go through with you a list come up by Dr. Arnold Fruchtenbaum on pre-tribulation events. And I've got to admit, I'm a little bit biased because I narrated Fruchtenbaum's book, Footsteps of the Messiah, it's a big book, but it's great. It just goes through everything you need to know. If you want the audio, that's good too, 28 and a half hours long. But as I'm going through this, and I was listening to it the other day and thinking, what about this? What about that? And as I thought those things, the answers came. No, this must be the order. This must be the case because these other verses fit in here and here. It stems, this particular part, from Matthew 24. As Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives, this is verse 3, the disciples came to him in private and they said, tell us when all these things will be. When will be the end of this age and the sign of your coming? And so Jesus told them many, many things. And he said, watch and don't let anyone fool you. He told them some things that would happen that weren't a sign of the end times. And that's wars all over the place. But then he came to this one which talks about world wars. And without going into details, the rabbis also agree that this terminology means the whole world at war. The first sign, so the first of Dr. Fruchtenbaum's signs regarding the end times is the whole world at war. And we know that that happened in 1917, in 1914, 1917, the First World War. Most historians agree that the Second World War was just a carry-on of that. The second thing was earthquakes and famines. Surprisingly, since that First World War, the number of earthquakes in the world has increased dramatically. And the number of famines and the number of people killed by famines has increased dramatically, particularly in Russia. But so the first sign was the world wars and the famines and the earthquakes. The next sign is the reestablishment of Israel as a nation. Now, I'm just reading from a list off camera here, so I hope you don't mind that. But we saw that happen in 1948. Israel reestablished as a nation. And in fulfillment of the prophecy that God said, I'll make you a nation in one day. Who ever heard of that? A nation becoming a nation in one day. But that's exactly what happened. The next thing goes through to 1967, Jerusalem under Jewish control. You need to have that because you need to have a Jewish government in Israel for the Antichrist to sign his treaty with. You need a temple in Jerusalem for the sacrifices to be there so that the Antichrist can stop them. So that needs to happen. World wars, the reestablishment of Israel as a nation, Jerusalem under Jewish control. Those things have happened already. Next in the order is the northern invasion of Israel. Now, it's a failed invasion. They're wiped out completely by God, who establishes himself as the one true God. That's got to happen before the tribulation. Also before the tribulation needs to be the one world government. Now, in this, it gets a little bit tricky because there's also those verses that talk about the 10 nations or the 10 kingdoms of the world and the rise of the Antichrist. The order of that, not quite sure, but we do need the one world government, we need the 10 kingdom government, and we need the Antichrist because he's the one that starts the tribulation by signing that peace treaty with Israel. We need a period of false peace and security. Because why? Because it says, in the Bible, it says, when they say peace and security, then the end will come. And we need that 7-year covenant written up and signed. The rapture, if you hold to the pre-tribulation rapture theory, which I personally do, but if you hold to that, the rapture is not a sign of the beginning of the tribulation. The tribulation starts with the signing of the 7-year peace treaty by the Antichrist with the government of Israel, which occurs after the northern or the Russian invasion of Israel, which occurs after the Jerusalem is in Jewish control, which we already have. So basically next on the calendar, we're looking for this northern invasion. But if you want to find out what's going to happen and get your facts in the right order, I can't recommend this book high enough. It's called Footsteps of the Messiah by Dr. Arnold Fruchtenbaum. You can get it from us here at Know My Faith, and just check the website or follow the link below.